Like I haven't had just too many like one night stand business relationship. That's just not, I don't know how to do that. I've always been.
You haven't had that many one night stands period in your life, so that doesn't surprise me.
My friends in high school would always make fun of me because if I met a good girl,
any one night stands?
No,
don't answer that. Don't answer that. Hello. I'm Sam.
I'm Brandon.
And this is the Middleton Methods podcast, where you get to be a fly on our wall to get practical tips, gain insight, and laugh at our expense.
Why are people laughing at us?
Well, because we got a lot of funny stuff to say.
They're laughing with us.
They're probably laughing at you and laughing with me because I think I tease you more than you tease me, but we'll see.
All right.
How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are having an awesome day.
Yes.
It has been a crazy week for
usual.
The last couple of weeks have been a little crazier than normal. I mean, it literally we're recording this podcast, it's getting edited, and we're putting it up. We've never done it this last minute, but we're here for you. And let's start with our Middleton madness.
And Sam singing.
La la la. And big shout out real quick to Will, who edits our podcast every week. He puts in all these little sound bites, so when I go back and I listen, I actually laugh at the little things he puts into the podcast. They crack me up. So thank you for your time. We really appreciate you. But the Middleton madness, between all the madness, how about the madness of the kids learning how to swim?
We would call this variety instead of madness, because that's just our life. It's just full of variety, up and downs. But
the Middleton variety doesn't sound as exciting. No. Yeah. Okay.
So the kids learning how to swim. Obviously, it's summertime. You know, it's funny. I've actually recently, they say when you buy a new car, you notice that car. Well, now that our kids are swimming, and obviously the time of year, I'm hearing a lot of people in our circles who actually have these crazy stories of their kids when they were young, falling into pools and stuff. And that's never really been on my radar.
Oh, because we always have pool fences. And I'm like, pool fence Nazi. I'm like, that needs to be shut. It needs to be locked. Don't ever have the sliding door open on top of it. I've been really big on it because I don't ever want my kids to drown, obviously.
Yeah, and I've been hearing these stories, and as I'm watching them do these swim lessons, and thankfully in our own backyard in our pool, I'm like, man, that is so scary.
You're like, our kids are doing swim lessons, because it's summer. I feel like that's like going on a diet when the day before you want to wear a bikini. Shouldn't we have started these swim lessons months ago so that they were already swimming by now? But we do, we are still learning this parenting thing one phase at a time. So they are learning how to swim right now, which is great for Max because he's only 2.5. Well, he's almost 2.5. But Peyton's a little bit older. But how cool is it to see our little humans swimming? They're just it's so nuts. They've only been doing these lessons for 2 weeks and my kids are swimming. It's crazy. And we're about to take on a little bit more work, which will be more madness we can share in the future because now they're not going to have their swimmies. That's like sitting on a float with, a nice margarita or something on the pool and just lounging and enjoying the sun when the kids have the swimmies on, right? Life's that easy.
They got a life vest on.
Not that we do that. I'm just saying it's as easy as just floating around the pool all day because that's what they're doing. But now that they're not going to have swimmies, it's going to be work. It's going to be work, but so cool.
So amazing. I was shocked, a little sticker shocked when Sam told me the price of these.
I was a little sticker shocked when I told myself the price that these
now I'm like,
oh
my gosh, this is not only is it valuable, obviously it's life saving, but man, is it also entertaining and the first week was scary, no lie. I'm looking at him half drowned our kids, and I'm like, oh my god, is this normal? I want to jump in and help them. And then was this the second week or we're going into the third week?
This is, we're in the third week now.
These little babies swimming, literally putting their heads underwater, holding their breath. Man, it is I got a future vision of being that proud parent at the baseball game, at the football, seeing your child grow like that and something new. Man, it is so cool.
Yeah.
I've been
Peyton just swam across the pool. All the way across the pool. I was like, wow, that's just so cool. And what the scary part for me though is like when like Max is a little bit more adventurous. He just doesn't want to, he lives his name
Careless.
literally means the greatest free man. Maxim Charles means the greatest free man. And by no way, shape, or form did we misname him because he wants to be the greatest free man. Like, he wants everything the way he wants it. And when he doesn't get his way, he kind of acts out a little bit. But his swim instructor doesn't let him get away with stuff. So, like, if he tries to, like, not listen to him, he'll just, like, drop him in the water for a minute. And my heart will sink out of, like, just fly out of my body. Like, because I know, like, he's okay. But still, I watch Max now. He's not. He's getting better at swimming. So when he first did it, I was like, oh my gosh, he's like literally drowning my kid for 10 seconds so that he feels the pain and listens to him, which is a little nerve wracking. But now Max is getting stronger at swimming. So if he drops him, he's just swimming.
I had to crack up. This was just a few days ago when Max was taking like one of the rings, that they dive for. And, he's a boy. He's like bumps into everything and like thrashes and hits things. And he was like, basically like trying to throw the ring at the swim instructor and like, not really hurting him, right? But he's like hitting him. And he just was like, after like 3 warnings, laughing. He's like, Max, you can't do that. We need to do this. And then, like Sam says, you just like let him go.
Yeah, Max did it again, and we just watched him like dunk.
And then he's underwater, and you watch his instincts or his training kick in, and then he's kicking his little legs and getting back to the stairs and getting above water. Is just
it's really so cool. So we're looking forward to seeing them get even stronger.
Check out the Instagram stories every now and then. You're sharing the what are we, Brandon and Sam, or search Middleton
at Brandon and Sam on Instagram. Yeah, go check us out. That's right. Good job, babe. That's right, because we're sharing their little swim journey on there. It's so fun to watch them grow. Oh, I just love it. Well, let's talk for a minute because it has been a little bit crazy, right? Would you say things have been a little crazy?
That's just our life.
Yes.
There's always some season going on.
I feel like you could listen to any of our past podcasts, and that's exactly what we're going to say. Things have been a little crazy. People ask me how I'm doing, and I'm like, things have been nuts. But I'm always like smiling about it, or I laugh about it when I say it, because it's like crazy in a good way. Like, we invite and embrace the crazy, even when we're not getting when things aren't exactly going how we thought they would go. Like, even like a split second later, we're just kind of embracing it.
Which is exactly why
what we're talking about today, isn't it, my dear?
Attitude. Your attitude and the way you look at things is so important.
It is.
Can I share that little quote that my grandpappy shared with me so long ago?
Yes.
You want to share the long one?
Just whichever one will keep us excited and not,
All right, I'll give you the short version. I don't have his last name. Charles, you'll have to Google it. But he basically says life is 10%
your
what happens to you.
Your grandfather told you a quote from a Charles somebody?
Oh, yeah.
And that's your grandfather's name?
Yeah, that's
someone.
Right. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it.
Yeah.
And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. My mom used to always say, you need an attitude adjustment. Now I know why.
Oh gosh,
so
really?
Yeah.
That's what I say to Peyton. I'll tell her, go in your room and come out when you have a better attitude. Yeah. Go change your attitude and then you can come back out.
Did you get that from their school? I feel like they have been teaching them about choices and changing their attitude.
No? I haven't. Oh. I just think like I've been telling her like you could. She was like really whiny about it over one day or something, and I said, like she was waking up grumpy, which she doesn't normally do. It was like maybe almost a whole week of it. And I don't want to deal with that first thing in the morning. Like, that's not the way I want to wake up. And right. I told her, like, you would come into my room and be so excited to come see me. And this whole week you've been really grumpy. Like you get to choose whether you're happy or unhappy. So let's choose to be happy in the morning because you're making me grumpy. Do you want a grumpy mommy? No? Okay, well, let's change our attitude then. And that's kind of like, it worked, and so it's been sticking. And now everything is go to your room until you change your attitude, and then you can come out. And she will. She'll come out and be like, I changed my attitude, Mommy.
These wise little children, they're helping remind us of all these lessons.
Sometimes they tell us they change their attitude just to come back out of their room.
Yeah. Hey.
They haven't fully changed their attitude 100% yet.
Why is this so important, Sam? Why is it important in business and life, certainly in marriage? Like, why is it so important to have a positive attitude or look at things in a positive light, right? Because you can always look at the glass half empty, half full.
You know, if you go into a situation with a positive attitude, it's actually proven that you are more likely to succeed. So there was a lot of studies that used, like the old studies used to say people that are successful are happier, but now there's a lot newer studies that are coming out that are saying because they're happier and have a better attitude, that is why they're successful. So
the Mayo Clinic says that the people who have a positive attitude live longer, healthier lives.
Right. So if you're going into situations or just thinking, like it could be marriage or business or your career, which I guess is business as well, with your children, you know, basically the way that you lead those things or your attitude on them is going to determine the outcome, right? There's that saying like, what you believe you can achieve, right? Or what you believe to be true is true for you. Like if you...
That can sound like sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, but when you put it into practice, it becomes a reality. So basically, I read this thing that said there's 3 facts about your attitude that you need to know. 1, it reveals what you believe. 2, it reveals what you see as a result of what you believe, right? And then 3, it reveals what is possible or impossible based on your willingness to change what you believe.
So let's break those down, because the first time you shared that with me,
you were like, huh?
I kind of glazed over because they're simple, but it's kind of like you got to read between the lines. It's a little deep. So repeat the first one again.
It reveals what you believe.
How does your attitude reveal what your belief system is?
Well, what do you think? I think like if I come with a bad attitude, it's gonna already give off that sign to people that I'm a negative person, right? Or my beliefs on certain things because of how I act about them.
So if something happened in your past and you look at it as, you know, everyone's out to get me. I don't know. I feel like you could use this in like a relationship sense. So if you dated for years and every man ever cheated on you, and then you go into a new relationship with the attitude that all men are cheaters, then that's your belief, right? You believe that, and therefore you're probably going to talk to him like questioning where he is at night or what he's doing or check his text message, and therefore probably create that exact situation which you don't want. Does that make sense? Is that clear?
Yeah. And it's basically saying like so number 2 is it reveals that what you see is a result of what you believe. So that's like basically if you have your core values, and when you're living by those, like that's how you're going to act in your life. So it's not only like how you think and how other people see you, but also like that's just naturally, subconsciously, like that's how you're going to act in all areas of your life as well.
Just to that point, did you know that Albert Einstein actually said that there's only 2 ways to live your life? One is though that nothing is a miracle, and the other is though everything is a miracle. So if you believe that, you know, everything, and you're grateful for everything, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and then so the third part was it reveals what is possible or impossible based on your willingness to change what you believe. So, I mean, I guess basically we see this in success all the time. Like the people that are willing to be the most moldable talent, like they're the ones that change the most. They're the ones that succeed the most, right? Like if you have a certain mindset and you stick on that mindset, you're never going to grow.
Like can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah. But I also think it's also saying this one thing that I have taken with me from these 3 things, which I think is pretty profound, that what you feel is possible or is impossible is based on your attitude. So an example of this would be for years and years, my mom, here, we'll just put her on a nice shining pedestal again and show everybody what a wonderful mother I had growing up. But for years and years, my mom would tell me all these things I couldn't do and why I couldn't do them. And I actually grew up for a really long time with a lot of self-confidence issues. Like you had even mentioned that when we first started dating, like I had so much to be confident for, but nobody was telling me like positive things. I was hearing all these negative things from my mom all the time. So I really didn't think that highly of myself. So I didn't think a lot of things were possible because of how the attitude that other people were putting on me as well. Like the can'ts, you can't do that because of ABC or whatever, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I found these 3 facts. That's like maybe everything's in threes today. I found these 3 facts that go along with that I got from, it's a cool new resource I found called sermoncentral.com. And it's an article, the 3 facts about attitude. And so fact number 1 was a lot of what we just discussed. Your attitude reveals the real you. But the second thing is your attitude determines the success and failure of every relationship in your life. And they are saying that, like a bad attitude or a good attitude, either way, it's going to affect your marriage, your kids, your relationships, your friends. Like every relationship in your life is based off your attitude. And we've actually experienced that a lot.
We've had a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
Obviously outside of ours.
One thing that I thought was really interesting when you and I were talking about bringing this up as a topic is how like treating every relationship like it's a marriage. And I don't know if you wanted to speak on that for a minute, because it's almost like we almost get so, I don't know, how you were saying it really well, whatever you were saying about it yesterday. So remind me and share with everybody how you were saying like your attitude going into a relationship with a new client or a new friend, or like you just have
business partner.
It's basically like you kind of date a little bit but when you find those good people, like you treat these people as if you were marrying them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's no surprise because neither one of us really grew up with healthy relationships in our life, right? We didn't have healthy family relationships. Even a lot of the friends that I grew up with who were like family to me, they still weren't like the most healthy relationships. We don't have much of a relationship even, in our adult years. So the one relationship that I've had the most, we both had the most experience with, has been our marriage, right? I mean, it's at the top of our list. It's the highest priority for us. We've always put each other first. So when I believe in something, I take it. I mean, I look at it in the same way. Like I haven't had just too many like one night stand business relationship. That's just not, I don't know how to do that. I've always been. You
haven't had that many one night stands period in your life. So that doesn't surprise me.
My friends in high school would always make fun of me because if I met a good girl.
Any one night stands? No, don't answer that. Don't answer that.
They'd be like, oh, Brandon's always like, I'll bleep out the P word, right? He's whipped, right? Brandon's whipped every time. He's always got a girlfriend for like a year. I'm like, I don't see the point in these short-term relationships. Like life is short. So I've always had that attitude about any relationship that's worth having is worth having long-term. That's not necessarily right or wrong, depending on the business that you're in. Like if you're a mechanic on cars, like you're probably not going to have, no, that's not necessarily true. You want to have a customer for life, right? You want to have that relationship for life, but some are just there to get their oil changed and get out the door and you'll never see them again, right? So it's just different. That's all. It's the nature of our business.
I feel like that's something that's always been really important to you that I've had to really stretch to, embrace that more. But it's they say a bad attitude can destroy a relationship, and that almost like I don't think it does it as much as it used to, but when I was first like being like, okay, I'm all in with this relationship, like it takes me a lot to put my guard down with people. At least in the past it did. It took me like so much to put my guard down. because you're basically saying, like, I'm trusting that you're never going to hurt me. And like in my past relationships, there were a lot of people that I was supposed to have like full trust in, like my parents, that I feel have totally burned me as far as parenting goes. So, you know, like I've put up such a big wall over the years, like to accept that and be supportive of you, and that has been super challenging.
I always came in with no wall.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, you're like way too trusting. Like I can see like a million miles away that person's totally gonna screw you, but you want to go for it, okay, whatever. But now, like, I'm a little better at it now, but it still hurts when a relationship does go sour, because you do have this like, we're getting married to these people, right? Like we have to have the mindset that no matter what, we're going to go work things out with them. And when it doesn't go that way, I do have a tendency to have a bad attitude for a minute. Now, what is interesting is it moves us into number 3 that the sermoncentral.com brought up, which was you have the choice of how your attitude is. And
it's always your choice.
Yeah, it's always your choice. So, I notice that when things don't go my way, I mean, obviously I get a little grumpy about it and I have a bad attitude. But what I've realized, especially the more and more in business we are, or just like the more relationships that evolve that do mean a lot to us, I used to be quick to just have a bad attitude and go, I need these people can't be in my life anymore. Now it's more like, well, these people are important to me, so what are we doing to just have a good relationship? Like, things don't work out here or whatever, but we can still, it could be a business relationship is a good example, right? Like we've done business with plenty of people, right? And then we haven't done business with them anymore. And there are relationships throughout those business relationships that have held strong through years and years. People we work with years ago that we still keep in touch with because
Jay was a good example.
Yeah, Heather's another one. Like we have some really good people that we've met through the years that you just know, like, you don't want to lose those people in your life. And it's the same with personal relationships as well. But then like it's hurtful. Sometimes people, like, what if they just continue to have a bad attitude? Like there's a point where, what do? Like you want at a certain point, they say get rid of bad people in your life, right? Like if they're not willing to, if you can't change the people around you, then you change the people around you. So how do you personally like suggest dealing with, you know, people with a bad attitude if they refuse to change their attitude? Do you, like, you have the concept of like having the mindset like it's a marriage, but it's not a marriage, right? We're the only people that are married to each other. So we were talking about this a little bit, about how like through the good and the bad and the thick and the thin, no matter what's going on, like I know our outcome is we're going to work through it. We're going to work through everything because we've made this commitment to each other for life. But what about the person, even the best friend? Like we have best friends that were best friends. Like
that's a good scenario to talk on friends, because friends do come and go in and out of our life. Like we've had friends that we didn't talk to for years. Like your best friend, you actually lost touch with from school, and then you guys were like best friends all over again. And then, you know, life happens and families, and you lose touch for a little while. And then when you get back together, it's like, you know,
nothing ever like there's no changed. Span of time that's been there. Yeah.
I think it's because you never had a bad attitude about those friendships, because friendships usually, I would go as far to say friendships aren't always that deep. Like if someone's that close of a friend, they're basically family. And, you know, business, you know, comes and goes, but like you don't have that many, like, I guess, blowouts with a friendship. You haven't anyway. It's like your friends, if you guys aren't on the same page, or you don't agree with how a friend's, you know, living her life right now or whatever, you just don't talk for a little while.
Business is what I do.
You mind your business, and then but it's funny enough, as long as you keep that, you know, that positive attitude, instead of having it be a victim attitude, it's you have those people do come back into your life at different times in the future.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, I think one thing that's really important to remember is different opinions, different core values. It's going to bring different attitudes to the table. So everybody is, tell me if this statement is not true, but in my opinion, like everybody always is a little bit selfish in their relationships and their intentions or in their actions, because at the end of the day you only have yourself, right? Like you have bills to pay or a roof over your head or whatever. Even if you are not meaning to be selfish, like you're not gonna go eat, live in a box for somebody else to live in a castle, right? Mm-hmm. So that's like a very exaggerate, it's very exaggerated, but you know what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because sometimes relationships will go different directions or whatever, because just the attitudes are different on a situation. So what I want to move into now with you is just like, how do you keep a good attitude about those things? Like there's people that struggle every day with this. Mm-hmm. Like it can turn into all out wars or pee contests or whatever, like who's right or whatever. And attitudes can go south really fast, or just waking up every day. Like if you don't live the life that you want, you don't have the things that, you don't drive the car that you want, you don't take as many vacations that you want, you don't like your job, or mm-hmm. you're struggling to be an entrepreneur. Maybe like you have all the right intentions, but financially you're not making ends meet. Like these things you weigh more than you want to weigh. Like your kids, you don't know how to bond with your kids. Like there could be so many different things that could give somebody a poor attitude.
Absolutely.
And so I want to start just sharing real fast before we move on to the Brandon's No BS business tips. What are some things to just keep a good attitude? Because people ask us very often, how do we work together and stay married and have the kids? And we have all these things that we're juggling, and even though we say things are crazy, like we say it and we laugh, or we say it with a smile on our face, because we really do I think what do you say, 95 or more % of the time we just have a good attitude about the situations, and when we find ourselves falling into a bad attitude, we keep each other in check. Right. And to switch our attitude quickly if we didn't already correct it ourselves.
Right.
So what are some ways that we can help everybody listening to the podcast today keep a good attitude? Like what are some of those rider downers that they can take with them, so next time they're in one of these situations they can go, I remember Brandon said.
When I listen to my 8 tracks every morning when I'm working out, there's always this one quote from Tony Robbins where he says, trade your expectations for appreciation and your whole life becomes a miracle. It's kind of in line with what Einstein said, right? Yeah. Like if you just have this attitude of gratitude, you know, and it is not perfect all the time.
So like negatively, the attitude of gratitude.
Because it sounds cheesy,
cliche.
Right?
Yeah, right.
But it's true. Like if you instead of looking at all the things you don't have, you don't weigh what you want to weigh, you don't have the muscles, you don't drive the car, you don't live in the house yet. If you look at all of that, you can't help but have a bad attitude. But if you're like, hey, I'm eating good, obviously, that's why I got a few extra pounds. There must be food on the table. If you have a roof over your head, even if it's not the dream home yet, you aren't sleeping on the street, right? If you have, those appreciations and you're grateful more often than you're not. Like I said, we have times where we're like down, and as we've gained more success over the years, it just becomes faster for us to snap out of it. Like I can only have so much of a bad day, living in our dream home. I can only have so much of a bad day having, 2 new cars and not having to, be in the shop once a month with our old beater cars like we used to. Like there's, our environment has changed, so it makes it easier for us to be so many more things to be grateful for. But I would say that that's one thing. Just change what you focus on, and that'll give you certainly a better. I mean, that's how I like to wake up every morning. I'm like, thank you for this, thank you for that, thank you.
Yeah, it could be, like, okay, so something bad just happened in my life, and I can harp on the bad, or I can say, this must have happened for a reason.
Exactly.
So what is this reason? What am I being called to do instead of, whatever I just lost?
Now, what if someone were to say, why is that so? Like that sounds, like too fluffy. Like everything happens for a reason. You hear that all the time. Another great cliche. But what do you have a response for that?
Like that it sounds too fluffy, like what I would say?
Yeah, like, no, you don't understand. I just got cancer. Like, how can you tell me that happens for a reason, right? I just had a family member die. How can you tell me that everything happens for a reason?
So there are some miracle stories out there, right? That even though people get diagnosed with cancer, there are some that have such good attitudes about that they're in remission, or they like self-cure themselves. Like it's maybe a little extreme and a little too much for some people, but the power of your thinking and the power of your brain really is like the most powerful tool that you have in your tool belt, is the way you think. And if you're a skeptic on positive thinking, then I would just challenge you to just try it for a little while, because what is it going to do?
You're not going to lose anything.
It's not going to hurt you to give it a shot, right? But what I notice is, like, when we have something that happens to us, like, Aunt Sylvia passed away, right? We've shared that a couple podcasts ago. And I tell you, I'm like a non-confronter of death, but it's not because I don't want to talk about dying. I can talk about dying. I non-confront it because it's not going to serve me anything to sit around and talk about how she's dead and be upset about it for weeks and weeks on end.
Right. You could focus on what we don't have is her here, or you could focus on what we do have is the years that we had.
Right. Or maybe it's inspiring me more to, take that trip up to see your grandmother for a couple of weeks over the summer, because we have the luxury of being able to do that, and we weren't able to see her as much as we wanted to down here. But losing somebody can certainly push you to go spend some time with the people that you love a little bit more. And that's the same with business situations or friendships or whatever may have you. And when something goes bad, it's like I could sit here and talk crap about somebody, but that's not very nice to do. Why wouldn't I just focus on whatever the outcome is supposed to be and just start focusing on it and moving towards it? Because things end in order for, like, one door closes in order for another one to open. So when something's ending, it's like your initial reaction is probably to go a little bit in the negative about it. But then what are you it's like, what are you missing if you don't take that risk?
Right.
What are you missing if you don't take that shot?
So if you do have that happen to you, like if you do tend to go into the negative or, have a bad attitude about a situation, I would say, especially if you've been doing it for a while, it's okay. Just don't be there for too long. Like just like death, like they say, everyone has a grieving process. Like it's healthy to grieve, and then it's time to get back to life, right?
So Brandon was talking about like how he's listening to audiobooks, which kind of went on to that run-on, but that is one of the things that you can do to stay positive and have a good attitude on things, is to listen to positive things. Like, wow, what a concept. Now, we probably battle this out a ton in our house because I love to watch garbage TV, and Brandon cannot stand that I love to watch garbage TV. But it actually is just my way of turning things off for a little while. But when I want to, like, if I feel like I'm in a bad mood or have a bad attitude, that it is my first go-to. Loud music in my ear that's super positive. Or even I'll go to like really bad music for like a minute just to get out whatever is like going on in my head, and then I'll immediately just go put something good on afterwards.
I'm picturing you like listening to like heavy metal or something.
That's exactly the type of stuff I put on, like Trapped and stuff like that. You remember that rock band? Oh my gosh. No, I don't. Oh really? It's a song. Oh my gosh, you used to listen to it in high school. I'll play it for you later. So, Linkin Park's another good one. They have a lot of negative music. Anyway, just like that stuff, Alanis Morissette's probably my go-to when I'm in a bad mood, and I just need to like get it out of my system and then move on. So that's one way to put myself or keep myself in a good attitude, is when I find myself going in the wrong direction, I just kind of like full force go hash it out on my own as quickly as I can with music, and then I just it's just one of those things that's always been there through all my years. But listening to positive music and positive things can certainly help keep you from going in that negative direction.
If I didn't listen to stuff in the morning, I would be a very different person, I promise.
Yeah, Brandon's big on his 8
I used to go to sleep with Jim Rohn. Remember?
Yeah, we go through our stages sometimes where we'll still do that.
I was like, literally, it was the routine. Before bed, we didn't have a TV in the room. It was put on,
to stuff,
take the BlackBerry, put it on speakerphone, and
I
had all that. downloaded to my BlackBerry back then.
Let's just talk about how we used to clip the phones to our belts while we're at it. And then, oh God, that we have pictures of us like that. Let's not even go there. Another thing, like podcasts, there's all sorts of stuff you can listen to that have positive messages. And I, for one, say I'm a little bit more on the reading side. Like, I like to pop open my computer or look on my phone and just find a quick article because it's quick and consumable. I always talk about those quick and consumables. So if I need to get inspired or that little push in the right direction, I'll go read an article or a blog because they're short and sweet and to the point where you'll like listen to a whole book or you'll read a whole book because that stuff will keep you motivated or have a good attitude. Another thing that you can do is, it's like the threes: eat well, exercise, and sleep. I feel like those three we can kind of package all into one. They're all important. All of them help you have less stress. All of them keep your body and your mind in better areas. And sleep is probably the biggest one that has been like, we don't have much control over that with the kids now. So that's the one we probably struggle with the most. But we get those little glimpses of the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, they came in at almost 7 today. Or yesterday.
Oh, I was going to say, no, they didn't today. Max
came in at 5, went back to sleep.
Yep, and I was like, no, come cuddle with Mom for a minute. And then Peyton crawled into bed at like 5:40 or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I said, go crawl in bed and go in the middle of us. And she said, just to add to the madness of the kids piling in our bed at 5 a.m, and she was like, nope, and just like ninja'd herself right on this little sliver of the bed because she likes to cuddle with me. What else you got, Brandon?
I just wanted to emphasize the exercise part. It's exercise and being healthy.
Yeah.
If you're only doing it to look a certain way in the mirror, or you're only doing it for 6-pack abs, there's nothing wrong with that. However, that's usually the only time we would work out. It was like, all right, we want to get our 90-day challenge. We want to lose 15 pounds in 40 days or whatever that was. It was very much about that gratification. Now exercise is a non-negotiable. Like, I cannot stand not to, because it does completely change my attitude. It really is that important for my day to know, like, because I'm just going to be really transparent. In the morning when I'm working out, and we've tried working out together like that, we did that for a little while. I like working out by myself with my headphones in and listening to my stuff because, no, seriously, because it's like my time to fight with all that negative self-talk and any self-doubt, or like I go to war with myself first, and that's the hardest person you'll ever, have to work with, right? I mean, that's the hardest relationship to have, is like the relationship with yourself and what goes on between your ears. So as I come out of that exercise for the day, basically every other challenge, conversation, relationship, anything that could put me in a bad mood is so much easier compared to what I started my day with. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, and so let's just round this out with one more, which is obviously is hang around with better people. Like, if you hang out with people with bad attitudes, you're more than likely going to adapt that poor attitude.
And when it comes to business, if you have people in your business who have a bad attitude,
they can be the rotten apple that spoils the whole bunch.
Exactly.
Is that the right term?
One bad apple spoils the whole bunch, girl.
I'm so bad with all those things. I try so hard to get it right, and then it just doesn't ever come out right. Same with big words. Apparently, I can't say big words anymore either. But yeah, hanging out with happy people.
Man, there's some people, I still strive to be that like person who like, they just always seem like they just like light up a room. I am not there yet.
Like that. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm like, there's just some people that just
say that about
literally light me up.
About us when we're together.
Right.
So maybe we just light each other up all the time. Oh. But for real, I want to bottle that up and sell it. I say there's just some people that seem so happy all the time, and I'm like, all right, really?
Just have a great attitude. It's just
they just have a good attitude, and they really take our friend that does motivational speaking and is very Faithful, his wife, I'm trying not to like name names here, but his wife is a really great example of somebody that just has this like beautiful, positive attitude all the time. Like, I just feel so good when I'm around her. And it's like, if you feel that good when you're around somebody like that, why wouldn't you want that more in your life, right? And it makes me happier. It makes me want to go treat other people like that. And it just has like a reciprocal effect, right?
So, talking about attitude, we're talking about, Sam gave you some like exercise and all that stuff. The kind of icing on the cake, what pulls all of this together is when you become that person, when you become a better version of yourself, you attract better people, and like the cycle just continues. So always look at change or growth or circumstances with a positive attitude, because no matter what, you're going to have more, you're going to continually attract more opportunities, more people, and you can't help but grow in a positive direction when you have a good attitude. Period. End of story. We'll stop beating that up. It's just that important, people.
All right, let's move on. I know somebody reached out to us on Instagram, and I believe you have the question this week. I don't have the question this week. So why don't you share that with us? Thank you, Sean. Thanks, Sean, for reaching out on Instagram. Again, if any of you guys have questions or things that you want to hear for any subject, marriage, business, whatever, send them to us via Facebook. Our Facebook page is Middleton Methods, or on Instagram at brandonandsam is our little call name, or I don't know what you call that on Instagram.
All right, don't make yourself sound
old. Old lady when I say stuff like that. All right, go ahead, Brandon, with our Brandon's no BS business tips.
All right, so Sean says, hi, Brandon and Sam. I had the pleasure of seeing you two speak at a recent mastermind. He's the camera guy. He said, you two are an inspiration. My girlfriend and I are looking to be pointed in the right direction. Perhaps you can help. I hope so. I'd like to learn more about social media marketing and SEO. Where do I start? Well, first, let me tell you, let me just get SEO off the table. SEO is, you don't have to worry about SEO for the most part unless you are, I guess, an SEO agency and you're providing that service. But SEO is kind of, in my opinion, and from all the campaign and marketing that we've done, that's definitely been at the bottom of the list of priorities. There's many other ways to get traffic. There's many other ways to work. But unless you're trying to help local, restaurants and local small businesses, get their rankings for their market, I would not waste the time with SEO, which brings up my question to answer your question about learning more about social media marketing. So whenever I hear these kind of like blanket questions, I'm always a little bit concerned, and it makes me have to ask more questions in order to give you an answer. So first, you're just getting started. So awesome. Congratulations on that. I'm assuming you're just getting started as an entrepreneur, starting a business. Before, just picking one of these hot buttons like social media marketing, I would advise you to ask yourself, what kind of customer are you looking for? Why are you interested in getting into that business? Do you want to be in social media marketing because you just really like social media and you spend a lot of time on social media and you're very engaged and you just like seeing the likes and the comments? Like, if you're passionate about it, awesome. Or are you just doing it as, because you heard or you see that people are making, you watch the Tai Lopez's of the world, brag about making money being a social media consultant. So I ask you that question. Why social media marketing? First, and then who is your customer? The reason I ask who your customer is because you are going to get paid based on the amount you get paid and the amount of money you can make as a social media marketing agency is going to be in direct proportion to the customer that you're serving. For example, if you're the social media person for a local pizza place whose average customer is worth $8.95, they can only afford to pay you so much, versus your local real estate agent who their average customer is buying a $200,000 house. They're getting a 3% commission. That customer is worth thousands and thousands of dollars to them. So I'm giving you a few things to think about, but I will give you a takeaway as far as where can you start. I would start with those questions, and if you come out still saying, all right, I know this is what I'm interested in, this is what I'm passionate about, where do I learn more, I know who I want to attract as a customer, then I'd say go to digitalmarketing.com and read their blog posts, maybe even join their $38 a month labs, and there is a wealth. I mean, they literally set the standard, in my opinion, for social media marketing and other digital online marketing. So go check out digitalmarketer.com. Definitely recommend join labs. I'm in there, so you can reach out to me once you're in the community and keep the questions coming.
Let's just point out real quick, because you said digitalmarketing.com and
digital marketer. Digitalmarketer.com.
I don't think that's the right link. So it's digitalmarketer.com. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for sending it in. Again, if you guys have questions that you want to hear us talk about, send them our way, and we will continue to bring these up on the podcast. But thanks for reaching out to us on Instagram and sending us your question. We are moving on to the Marriage Minute, and this one is very interesting because I wanted to bring up something that maybe had a little bit more, I don't know, I've been really happy with my marriage minutes lately, and I wanted to do something that's a real life situation, which is what do you do when you don't agree with your spouse or your significant other? Not necessarily in a bad way, all out fighting or something, but just for instance, Brandon.
It's never fun when we don't agree on something.
No, and although we do agree, we are really, really awesome at finding out what our goals are, but the way that we're necessarily getting to those goals is not always aligned. So, right. So what is interesting is I wanted to bring up just having a third party that you trust, that you can depend on to talk to. And I think for a lot of couples, this is going to be as far as their relationship goes. But we don't have that side on our relationship because we just hash out our stuff between you and you and me, right?
Right. It's kind of one of our no-nos too. We don't go to our girlfriend or our boyfriend, our guy friends and be like, hey, what do you think I should do about this and that in my marriage?
Yeah,
we just don't do that.
Some people will go talk to their pastor, or they have a marriage counselor or something, they have almost a mediator, right? And times where they would disagree in their relationship. I feel we just always work through those things on our relationship side ourselves. However, you and I are not just married. We're also business partners. So I'm speaking to this a little bit on that side, just because we may have our goals set, but not always agree on the path we're going to get there.
Or the timeline.
Right. And what we don't want to do is prolong us getting to our goal by trying to hash out whose way is right necessarily, right?
Or whose way is best.
Well, we know that we're both really smart people. So I know, if Brandon brings something
and humble as all can be.
I know if Brandon brings something to the table, we'll have our goal. And if he's I think that this is the best way to get there, the fastest way to get there, whatever, that it's probably right to a degree. We're going to reach our goal going in that direction. But if I have a different way of wanting to go, and I say, yeah, but what about the
we just don't see eye to eye.
And you're you do the same thing though. You're I know we can get there going that way, but I like my way better, basically, right? So now we're at a head-to-head. I mean, we are 50-50 on this marriage, with parenting, with the business. We may not do 50-50 on responsibilities and those things, but when we're making those decisions, we make them together. The reason we make them together is because I don't ever want to have animosity towards Brandon for going with a decision he feels is best, and if I'm not 100% on board with it when we go into it, I don't want to post any blame if it's not the best way we should have gone, or if we have a victory, I don't want him to gloat either, because I don't like that either. So I really do like everything to be a collective thing, and it's the same with him. He doesn't want to feel like he's not the man making the decisions. It's a little different the way you feel on your side, right? So like it's almost like resistant to sometimes like I'm the guy and I want to make the decision, and you know, like you feel like you're the provider and you're the one that ultimately is going out to make the money, quote unquote, and so like you want to go the way you want to go because that's how you're going to have the best mindset on it. So sometimes when we have these things going on, we'll like reach out to like our business coach is a great example. We just did this with him the other day. We both have like the direction of things that we're going in, and like there's just this like one little piece of the puzzle that we were stalling on for maybe like, I don't know, 2-3 days now, but it's literally making it take us that much longer to reach our goal because we don't know which way to do it. So we just like what we like about having a third party is they're not coming in emotionally attached. They can look at the broad picture. This is why I don't like if you like want to choose your girlfriend to go complain to or ask questions to because she's
they're going to be biased
closer to you, right? Or your mom, like if you go ask your mom, it's your mom, so obviously they have your best interest in mind. Mm-hmm. But like we're paying a business coach to help our business grow, so they're going to look at it in a very like black and white. What are the different ideas you have? So we'll bring them to the table, very not like as a non-emotionally as we can be weighted on which way we want to go, right? So that person can kind of hash it out with us and tell us which way is the best way to go. So I wanted to bring that into the marriage minute because we do that as a married couple that's working together, which I know there's many of you out there that listen to our podcast you actually are married and work together. You're entrepreneurs or you do real estate investing and you do it with your spouse. And it's important to have that resource there, even if you have to pay for it. Like that is like obviously,
especially if you have to pay for it.
Yeah, like we pay our business coach to help us make decisions, and that way we keep like the emotions out of it. Well, not only does it help us get to the places we want to be faster in our business, but it also keeps our relationship even stronger because everything that we do in our business really does trickle into our relationship. If we have a bad day with work, we bring it home. Like we work from home, but we bring it home. Like we bring it from the office out into the living room, and it doesn't help to have a bad attitude, right? So in order for us to keep a good attitude, we like to have this third party person that can come in and help us out in times where we have to make important decisions. It's like having a board meeting, right?
Yep, your board of advisors, your trusted advisor. Yeah. So I would just make sure that it's everyone's a life coach and a business coach these days. So obviously make sure that your whoever you hire or call on for that duty is someone that you both trust, you both respect and see value in what they're doing, and make sure that there's someone who's done what you want to do or are an expert. We should probably put together a resource maybe for like a what do you call it, like interviewing a business coach.
Oh, right. Okay.
But that would be good. With that, where is if someone does want to find a business coach, or if someone wants to find a third party, like a marriage counselor or someone, to be that third party in their marriage that's not family, friends related, do you have some resources or some pointers for them on where they could go to get that?
Yeah, I mean, seek and you shall find. There's no, I've never gone to, mentor.com or something, which I'm sure that's a website, but I've never gone somewhere like that or Googled, good mentorships, right? They've always been word of mouth or from relationships, or I've been around other successful people and learned what they looked for, or contacted who they used even, right? Like that some people will share those resources because, that's what they do for a living. So that would be the best, easiest way to do is to find people that already have these types of resources and tap into those. Yeah. Because you already know that they're good. They're good.
Or ask your successful friends, who you should be connected to, basically.
Yeah, but basically, you need to figure out somebody that you have a good connection with. So even if you're getting references, you may get let's say it's a business coach. Let's talk about marriage minute. So it may be maybe it's a business coach and you work with your spouse. We had several options of business coaches we could pay. We narrowed it down and we pay for a couple of different people to help us on that side, and especially because we're married. Like, it's even probably could be more challenging for us to find that person because we both have to like them.
Right. I know there's resources out there. I wish I had been a little bit more prepared for this, but there's like there's probably family like websites and stuff that can give you, your local city and everything has a good amount, family youth and family resources. Like there's organizations around, and the only one that I know of that I've seen, like I know people that I respect who have like a marriage counselor. They always usually have that from church, and probably because marriage is, for most, it's a,
Yeah, even if you don't go to church, find like a mega church in your area because they will have a lot of resources and are always like, it's church. They're more than happy to help anybody, whether they go to the church or not, especially at these bigger ones. Like our church does that. They have a whole back end of resources. And encourage the people in the community to reach out. But there's online communities, and within the communities, people will share. You could even join any Facebook groups locally. Like a lot of bigger towns and stuff will have, like the city of Tampa, right? There's a Facebook group page, and you can just go ask in there, and people will share those resources. So those are a couple of other ways to check it out, but that is my marriage minute for the day.
Marriage minutes.
It keeps us happy in the home when we're happy in our business. So, and we really appreciate.
And vice versa, when we're happy in our life and our marriage, it makes us do more of our work more joyfully. We're more inspired. We create more. Yeah,
and I just want to thank you for one quick second because I appreciate that. Things don't always go your way. I have
true story.
Again, I just so smart and I have a ton of great ideas. So sometimes, like I will say, a good amount of time, like we are coming collectively to the table, but it's like when those moments come where it's like your way or my way, there really isn't. We're not like meshing on merging those ways together. And you've always been really open and receptive to going in a different path as long as you can get on board with it and see it. And I love that having that third party person. Like I could tell you things all day long and sometimes you just don't hear it. And then like somebody else will come in and say it.
That happens all the time.
You know what we need to do? We need to do blah. And it's like, all right.
I'm like, dang it. Sam just said that to me 2 weeks ago.
No, actually it's more
I hope she forgot she said
that to you 2 weeks ago. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that marriage minute. If you guys have any questions, specifically about marriage, relationships, throw them my way. We actually don't have a lot that come in about relationships. They're more like the business side. So I'm coming up with all this stuff myself based on like life experience, but help me make it a little easier for you. And let me know what you want to hear.
You can email Sam at MiddletonMethods.com or just go to MiddletonMethods.com. Give us a, you can write the question on a comment, hit us up on Facebook, whatever works for you. All right, guys. Well, I messed up. Oh my goodness. No, I'm good. I just don't remember how I close this thing out.
We're not perfect, but we're putting in the work to make it work.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Just a quick reminder to check us out on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review if you can. Help us spread the word. Help us help more couples and business owners, entrepreneurs, so on. Like we always say, marriage ain't easy, business ain't easy, but it takes work, and we're putting in the work to make it work. So take what you want this week. What you don't want, hey, just don't take. And we will see you next week for another episode of Middleton Methods Podcast. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Shine so bright, and I can make right now